Good morning, Robin. Hey, Danielle. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Come on in. All those who are watching from Clouthub, just know that right now, because they've changed the system, there is no chatting, but you can come over to YouTube and the Susan Knowles channel, and you can basically chat with us over there all day long. So come on over. Come on over and chat with us. All right, let's see. Good morning, Bonnie. Good to see you. Judy, good to see you. Good morning, Chesney. Hello, how are you? Come on in. Come on in. Wait for a few minutes for it to everything to get started. Joe, good to see you. Yeah, good morning, Lee. If you see it, hopefully Lee will come in and join us in the chat if she can. And I see us up on Cloud Hub as well. So that's good. Hi, Susan. I hope you're doing well. We have had some horrible news yesterday with the passing of Rush, but Rush will always live in our hearts. Absolutely, Gary. Absolutely. Hey, Carmen. Good morning. Good to see you back on YouTube. All right, I'm going to read just a little bit here of Psalm 101 and then we will get started. I will sing of mercy and justice. To you, O Lord, I will sing praises. I will behave wisely in a perfect way. Oh, when will you come to me? I will walk within my house with a perfect heart. I will set nothing wicked before my eyes. I hate the work of those who fall away. It shall not cling to me. A perverse heart shall depart from me. I will not know wickedness. Amen. Amen. Still had to look you up, but got notifications. Cool. Hey, Paula. Good morning. Good to see you. Good morning, Susan. My husband and I are watching you from Leavenworth, Washington, celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary. Wow. Well, congratulations. That's a big number. Paula, congratulations. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Rhonda. Good to see you. I did have, I want to give you some information. We all know about the passing of Rush yesterday. That was difficult. Although we all knew that it was coming, it was very difficult. There's going to be no one that could ever fill his shoes. So I don't know what they're going to do in regards to his program or anything like that, but he will be sorely missed. Those people who were shamefully saying bad things about him yesterday, all I can say is I'll pray for you and hope that you will not disrespect and speak poorly of the dead. That was just a horrible thing. You could have waited if you had opinions. I always tell people, how would you like it if that were your relative? Regardless of your political beliefs and how you feel, that's just something that people don't or shouldn't do, or at least when we had morals and ethics and stuff like that, we didn't speak poorly of the dead. Robin said he will be greatly missed. Yeah, Carmen passed away too. Let's see. Good morning, Ron. Good to see you. Good morning, Clara. Good to see you as well. Some evil, wicked people on Twitter. Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like I stay away from social media now as much as I possibly can because it's just too disturbing sometimes to see it. Yeah. Clara is so saddened by Rush's death. Absolutely. Evil abounds in those people. Yeah. You can sit behind your keyboard and people don't know who you are and you say evil things and disgusting things and some celebrities, I guess, Bette Midler. It's like, wow. Again, if that were your mother, father, sister, aunt, uncle, even if maybe you knew those things, some things about them that you didn't like, would you want somebody disparaging them on the same day that they died, or any other time for that matter, but on the same day that they died? Good morning, Paula Harden. Good to see you. I reported that tweet instead of just reading it, Carmen said. Good for you. Rush battled cancer for over a year, Ron said. Yeah, he really did. And also, there was breaking news this morning that Bob Dole has announced that he has stage 4 lung cancer. That just came out just a few minutes before we went on. So I wanted to pass that along to you. Thank you for those that were praying yesterday for the husband who was going in to have a tumor removed from his brain. Let's see. Cully said, not surprised by the left side on Rush. They are nasty people. Yeah, some of those people really are horribly nasty. So the husband yesterday had his surgery to remove the tumor on his brain. They found out some really unfortunate news. The tumor is malignant and he has an aggressive form of brain cancer. So at this point, I know for those of you who prayed, and again, it's so appreciated by myself and by the wife of the person who asked me to pray for them, to have us all pray for her husband. So appreciative. But right now, we need a miracle. If you could pray for a miracle for the husband and for God to be with his wife and just comfort both of them. That would be so appreciated. Thank you so much. Robin said, continuing to pray for the husband. My prayers go out to Bob Dole. Also, Gary said, good morning, Kathy McPherson. Robin, Carmen said, less listening to Rush. You were listening to Rush years ago as a very young person before I had a political stance. Just knew the man was smart. Yeah. Oh no, God bless him and his family. Clara said, will do. Judy said, praying for the husband. Thank you, everybody. Just a lot of yesterday. I don't know how you guys are feeling yesterday, but with just all like one bit of bad news after another. It was really hard to take yesterday. I feel for the people that, that lost loved ones, people that got bad news, people that, people in Texas. My gosh, I guess there's another storm coming in Texas. I've seen pictures of, the pipes, the water pipes that break and, from above and they just freeze and the water just freezes as it's falling down. And some people, I guess, are without power and have been without power for a couple of days. I know Houston has a boil your water type alert that's going out. I mean, it's just crazy. Hey, sissy, thank you. So sorry for them. Yes, we'll continue to pray. It isn't over yet. It's in God's hands. Paula said, amen. Amen. Let's see. The number of Americans applying for unemployment aid rose last week to 861,000. So again, when you don't open up the economy, this is what happens. You get unemployment and people filing for unemployment. Clara said, I have a family in Dallas and Houston, really bad. Clara said, yeah. Praying for Texas, Robin said. I have relatives in near Fort Worth, Texas, and they were in California. They flew back. I don't know how they got into Dallas, probably one of the last people that got in. And it's just, they sent me videos and it's nothing but just ice and snow everywhere. A close friend who lives in Mississippi is having the same issues, broken water pipes and no power. Wow. They told us to boil until they announce it's okay, Chesney said. Wow. Biden has zero response to help them in Texas. Well, he's busy, Cully. He's playing video games. Come on. Come on, man. What do you expect that he would do? How are they supposed to boil water? Yeah, good point, Judy. Good point. If you don't have electricity, you can't boil water. So, hey, Barbara, I know a lady that lives in San Antonio. She went to the store and it looked like it did during the first part of the pandemic when the shelves were totally empty and she was trying to find meat and it was just hard for her to find anything. My nephew was smart. Leave water dripping. Yeah, Clara, I know people left water dripping, enough water dripping. They left water dripping in Texas and it wasn't really helping them where they were. Chesney said school's been canceled this week and one day last week. Yep, Mississippi is bad too, Carmen said. Yeah, just horrible. I really feel bad for all those people. I mean, one of the things that I think Texas has learned from this is that you don't do solar turbines or wind turbines and solar panels ever again. If you do, you better make sure you have something that isn't connected to that. Barbara said, we tried for grocery delivery, not until Sunday. Oh. Robin said, a friend online was without water for 5 days. He's elderly. Someone told the manager of an Aldi. Aldi brought him free cases of water for free. That's really nice, Robin. That warms the heart, and it's, if you know of a neighbor around you that, like, if you have some things that they don't, or they're elderly near you, please check on them, because they're not going to reach out to you. They're not able to, I'm sure. Please just, knock on the door and see if they're okay. Many of us around Houston have gas cooking, so we are still able to boil water. That's good, Rhonda. Always have I think always have a barbecuer, in the back. So if worse comes to worse, you can turn on your barbecue, grill, and get some heat that way. Outside, not inside ever with especially with charcoal. Like that's deadly. Good morning, Rob. Good to see you. God is proving Green Deal is a joke. Yeah, Clara. Water dripping is okay if your water is on. It's the water plant cannot generate, Barbara said. There's people in Abilene without water and electricity going on 5 days. See, and the elderly you can't make that. When you go, for example, in California, when there's let's say we have our heat turned off at night, it gets to be about 60 in the house. Let me tell, and I know I'm not trying to rub it in for people who are without power and all that, but my point is 60 degrees in the house is cold. Take that and let's say it's 20 degrees outside and then you have no heat in the house, that is just unbearable. And I don't care how many blankets you put on, it's going to be cold and not healthy at all for you. Boil water over candles, site above, Karen said. This is a good time to learn how to start prepping for those uncertain times. Yeah. In California, when we had like 3 states that went out and the power went out for like 12 hours, people went nuts. They couldn't figure out how to get home. They all the street lights were out. People were panicked. They would go to gas stations. You can't get gas during a power outage. So it's kind of like, always have some gas in your car if you can. Californians typically have a barbecue grill. This is what we had. And that's how we got to continue cooking and all that, because we had that grill. And we had bottled water. So, I mean, the little things like that you really need to do. And because this is a good example. And this is only an example of things to come. There's going to be a lot worse things to come. And you got to be as prepared as you can. Again, we need to get generators and plan ahead and learn to depend on ourselves. We always have water jugs and fill your sink and tub, Barbara said. Running late, getting to work in the snow. Sorry, I'm late. Oh, Debbie, just be safe. We have grills and propane. That's good. You got to have that. You really do. If you don't have a barbecue grill, runs on propane, go out and get one today if you can. I think small camp stoves work too. Yes, anything that can generate heat. I would also have some, military sea rations. They call them sea rations. Hey, Josette, good to see you. That you can open and eat. They call them sea rats, right? So that you have that at least if you don't have any food in the house, that you can survive on that. And it's not the worst food I've ever tasted. It's not the best, but it'll keep you alive. And that's something you really need. Homes without power have been in the 40s and 50s inside for days. And that's, Rhonda, that's just miserable. You can't walk anywhere. You can't do anything. You got to always wrap up in something, sleeping bag, whatever. I couldn't take it. I'll just be honest with you. Hello, my lovely Sue. So sorry to hear about Rush. Please keep safe with the rough weather. Yeah. In California, Josette, we're fine in Southern California. It's the rest of the country that's being really hard hit. They can be called MREs too. Yes, Judy. Absolutely. I go for the old sea rats is what they used to call them. So that's what I do. All right. There's something I learned last night. I listened to Pastor Jack Hibbs. That was on a great series. If you haven't, you should go to Jack Hibbs and listen to his Wednesday night series. They're really good. But last night he said something that I wasn't aware of. California has the most conservatives than any other state in the country. And California has the most homeschools than any other state in the country. Think about that. California has the most conservatives living there and the most homeschools in there other than any place in the entire United States. We're just outnumbered by the progressives here, but I thought that was pretty interesting. Here is the stupid. A person whining about having a fireplace, no wood. Of course, she got a lot of people to bring wood, but really you were told this was coming, Barbara said. You can also use water heater water, just boil it and use it for cooking and drinking. My Patriot Supply is a great place to purchase packages of food that last 25 years. Yes, absolutely, Sissy. Good morning. Hey, Wanda. Have wood stoves so you can heat house, cook, and heat water for bathing. Still terrible for the folks in the South. Yep. Yep, absolutely. Well, were you all, let's see, well, were you all not red ones? Yeah, we were red ones before President Reagan, unfortunately, gave amnesty to illegals. And that's what flipped California blue. And Reagan admitted that he made that mistake. And yeah, as much as I loved Reagan, he made a bad error there. Okay. So I think we may have talked about this the other day, but I just ran across it again. In case we didn't, I thought it was very interesting. So let me bring this up for you. This is the Amazon's planned headquarters number 2. And they put here, it almost looks like the modern version of the biblical Tower of Babel. It didn't work out so well then. It worked out so well the last time, though. Look at that. Look at the two. It really has similarities, right? And not surprising. I mean, today when you see something like that, it's kind of like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it really makes sense. And there it is again. So I just wanted to bring that up. I think I just wanted to show you that. Okay. The other day we were talking about also divisive people and how some people had said, President Trump, he was so divisive, the country was so divided. And I was saying on the show, if you were here, that it didn't bother me because I'm not going to be, hey, Gary, I don't want to unite with people who are anti-God, pro-abortion, anti-biblical principles, anti-ethics, anti-moral, all that. I can be nice to them and, like I would a total stranger, be courteous, be kind or whatever, but I don't want to unite. There's no reason to. We are so far apart. And, what does the Bible say about not being with people that are, not Christian and not equally yoked, let's just say. Okay. At least Reagan admitted it. Yep. Not like B. He doesn't admit to anything. Well, he doesn't even know who he is, Sissy. I think for sure. Okay. So here is why that for me personally, I can never unite with a divisive person, a truly divisive person who is the polar opposite. Yeah, Bonnie said be set apart. Yes, from such turn away, Robin said. So this is President Trump's lawyer that he used during the impeachment trial. Trump lawyer says he sent children to secret location, hired armed guards over threats. His home's been broken into. I guess it was spray painted and all that. And now I understand that, that where he was teaching at the college, that's all been canceled. Everything has been taken away. Why? Because he did his job as an attorney, which anybody has a right to work, and represent people. What about, I could never be a criminal defense lawyer. Just couldn't. I was always concerned that when I was practicing, there might come a time when a judge would point to me and say, you have to defend this person because under California law, you legally and ethically and morally must do that. Now you can try to get out of it, but when a judge tells you and appoints you, you don't have a choice unless there's some other mitigating circumstances or whatever. I was always concerned, God, what if that ever happens? Well, if that happened, I would do my job to the best of my ability, whether I believed in that person or not, because I'm representing them and that they have a right to have a person represent them that is going to represent them honestly, correctly, morally, ethically, et cetera, et cetera. So this guy just does his job and now he's being threatened. His children are being threatened. This is ridiculous. And this is why I can't unite with people like that. I can't. If they want to repent and change that behavior, let's talk then. But until that happens, I would not even have that person in my house for a meal unless they were starving to death. Okay. And then I would, because I believe that that is biblically the correct thing to do. But you know what I'm talking about. We can pray for them. Yep. We can, Barbara. He was good. Yes, he was. They are evil, Barbara. Robin said. I don't know what else that you call it. When you do that to somebody, it is evil. He said his home was vandalized with graffiti, spray painted on his property the word traitor. His home was attacked, windows broken, spray painted, really bad words spray painted everywhere. And I've had nearly 100 death threats, he said. He said, the thing is, you guys don't know me, but I'm not a controversial guy. I'm not politically minded, so to speak. I'm a trial lawyer, and I represent people's interests in court. That's what I do. I love doing it, and I'm disappointed that this is a result of just me doing my job. Amen. I absolutely 100% agree. If somebody were representing Charles Manson, I wouldn't be the person representing Charles Manson. But if they're doing it, they're doing their job, and everyone is entitled to representation. It says here, same attorney, Trump impeachment attorney, canceled by law school and civil rights law group. He was getting ready to teach a course. They canceled it. He was suspended from civil rights lawyers group. He said, I was hoping to teach a civil rights course at the law school in the fall. We've been in talks about it, kind of planning it out. I wrote to them and I said, I want you to know I'm going to be representing Donald Trump in the impeachment case. I don't know if that impacts on your decision at all. And apparently it did. They said, they appreciate my writing. And frankly, it would make some students and faculty uncomfortable. So I couldn't do it. That was sad for me because I really want to go more and more into teaching. I like doing that. Well, too bad, right? They don't like you. They don't like your point of view. They don't like your free speech. They don't like anything. So out you go. It's terrible. Being nice to those kind of people got us where we are today, Bonnie said. Yep. Good morning, Sally. Some people that say mean things about Ruth Rushdyne. Yeah, we were talking about that. Clara said, I'd rather spend my time with God's people. Absolutely, Clara. Good morning, Melanie. So where is the division coming from? Not President Trump. Exactly. It's not President Trump. Yeah. I mean, again, President Trump, did he divide some people by what he said? Yes. You know why he did? Because people who were doing wrongdoing, were part of the swamp, didn't like being called out. So that divided people. And with the media lying to people all the time, everybody believed that Donald Trump was a bad person. And I say everybody on the left or anybody that watched the mainstream media thought Donald Trump was a divisive person, was mean, was bad, was this, was that, when it wasn't true. But you can create whatever and say it long enough, loud enough, and that you have people believing it. God will have a better plan for him. I was talking with somebody the other day and I said, I believe in a lot of respects that President Trump may have more ability now to do things than he did before. Because, think about it. He could sign executive orders. That's about all a president could do. Meaning legally, you can't create law. You can't make a court decision, and he could bring things up. But unless you have people around you, Bill Barr, working for you and doing their job, Christopher Wray, then if you don't have that, you don't have any power as a president. You can bring things out, but again, you can't make things happen. Congress still has to vote in law, blah, blah, blah. Now, if he does it right, he can get people motivated. He could probably get some things changed that we're doing now that we shouldn't have been doing it. For example, the voting system, that has to be changed. Somehow we have to get that changed. I don't know who's going to do that, but perhaps he could lead something like that. Hey, Bitcoin, Trump much more powerful now. I agree. Yeah, I really do. I think he has more power now than ever. He just has to do it right. It can't be just totally focused on going after people that went against him and voted against him and trying to get them out. I agree, get them out, but they can't be all about what he's doing. I also really pray that he starts his own social media platform. I really do. I really do. So that he would never be taken down again, ever. And I think that if that happened, he would have plenty of people. He called into Hannity last night. He sounds so relaxed. Yeah, he does. He does. And I'm so glad that he's had time off to do some other things. But he's probably bored at this point, knowing him, that the way he's shown people to be, that he always has to be doing something. He loves that. He thrives on it. Law school doing that is so insane. That speaks to the lack of knowledge of truth in such an obvious way. This shows the blindness that is rampant in our country. It does. And just think about it. Law schools run on money, right? They want people coming to their law school, Wanda. So even though they're teaching about free speech, and trust me, I took constitutional law in law school, and you learn about free speech, they're not living by the rule of law even. Matt Brainerd, Look Ahead America is training people for free, working on election integrity, Lori said. I heard that, Judy, well deserved, Joe said. All right. This is what Steve Bannon thinks about maybe what President Trump should do. I'm not in agreement, but that's okay. So here's what he says. He said, Trump could run for House Speaker in 2022 and impeach Biden. Yes, he could, but I think it would be an absolute waste of time. I personally don't want to see Donald Trump in the Senate. I think that takes his power away. I also think that, yes, he could start an impeachment against Biden, but it wouldn't go anywhere. So I think, Steve came up with a good idea there, but it's not going to be, I don't think it's what Donald Trump should do. What about defending killers and they get off, yet Trump did nothing wrong? Well, that's true. But, when your brain is so riddled with hate, you can't really think about what's really right and wrong, Barbara. And the left, some of those people are so riddled with hate, they can't see the forest for the trees. All right, I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and I'm going to talk about the virus, because there are some things coming with the virus that you should know about, and things coming with the jab that you should know about, because again, these are the really important things that are going to impact you personally, even more so than what's going on in politics, although that will impact you as well. All right. I found an article here. It's talking about government consigned Israeli population to be human subjects in a massive experiment. Now, basically what this says is they're talking about how, there was a scramble to get the vaccine from Israel and even, in America. And Netanyahu sought to show that single-handedly saved the day, as did President Trump when he launched Operation Warp Speed to accelerate the distribution of the jab. Both heads of states entered into secret contracts with vaccine manufacturers. Both failed, this is what, according to the article, both failed to disclose to their constituents that the mRNA jabs are experimental. And, that's basically technically true, because we did anybody hear anybody talking about that? The jab, you mean? Yeah. Yeah. We are, let's see. Let me put you up on their screen. We all know Trump won. Yeah. 410 votes. All right. So basically what it said is that, so Netanyahu, what he did, he entered into a relationship so that he would get the vaccine quicker than anybody else. Let me find out where. All right. So under the contract with Real World Epidemiological Evidence Collaboration Agreement, allegedly, all right, the government signed a commitment to vaccinate the entire 7 million adult population and to provide weekly data on its citizens during a 24-month surveillance follow-up study. The government disregarded potentially serious medical risks from the experimental jab and risks to privacy. So, in other words, I mean, that you think about, so Netanyahu, according to this, agreed in exchange for getting the vaccine and making sure that they had it, agreed to go into Israel, and vaccinate everyone. And we know that's true because we've heard that it's required that everybody get the jab. The gene therapy jabs, big risk. Yep. Maranatha Judy said, yep. Yes, we are a testing field. Well, Israel is the testing field for sure. And unless something is done, it will happen again. Now, Netanyahu stated it happened in America. Netanyahu stated that the reason Israel received so many vaccine doses so quickly is that Israel has committed to send Pfizer data and details especially gathered for them, including the consequences of the inoculation, side effects, efficacy, amount of time it takes to develop antibodies according to different types of population, age, gender, pre-existing conditions. The agreement extensively details the various parameters that will be sent to Pfizer. Isn't that great? And the Pfizer revealed to its investors that its mRNA jab is expected to garner $15 billion with the B dollars in 2021. Zuckerberg admitted it on jab. He would be banned by his own community standard. Kelly said, yep. Robert said, we aren't going to be their guinea pigs. Yeah. Well, Israel didn't have a choice. And everybody there has to be vaccinated, and everybody there now is a guinea pig. If that's true, if what I just read you is true from that article, then everybody is going to be a guinea pig. All right. Now, I have some even more frightening news in the field of the jab. Let's take a look at this together. This is, you've heard probably JD talking about it, and other people have talked about it. We've talked about it a little bit here. This is Agenda ID 2020. In Germany, according to a report, the parliament ratified on January 29, 2021, the implementation of Agenda ID 2020. This is a centralized general electronic data collection of every citizen to which every government agency, police, and possibly also the private sector would have access. It was designed by none other than Bill Gates as part of the jab package. It is backed by the Rockefeller Foundation, which they are part of the Trilateral Group and Trilateral Commission. So need I say more? And it is backed by the Rockefeller Foundation, Accenture, the WEF, and GAVI. I'll just say Gavi. Also, a Gates creation, 2001, with headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. So, and then Gavi is located next door to the World Health Organization and calls itself a public-private partnership. So, let me give you this article link so that you can go back and look at it later. But essentially, what it means is that all of your information, whether you've been vaccinated, your health issues, your family issues, everything. Results will make shingles experience seem like an itch, Liz W. said. Yeah. Yes. Like and share, Gary said. Thank you, Gary. But go read that article, because what they want to do is put that into the jab. That's what they're doing in Germany, supposedly. And that will give all of your information to anybody and everybody who wants it. Now, if you've listened to JD, this is what JD means by the fact when he says that eventually this will become the mark of the beast. Because think about it. If all of your information is there and they can turn things on and turn things off, et cetera, you can be prevented from buying and selling, eating, unless you get along. Not me, I'll go homeless first, Chesney said. Gates, the devil is among us. He has the spirit of the Antichrist, Barbara said. Yeah. He's a scary, scary man. I'm sorry. He just is. All right. Let me put some more information up for you. And a guy without a degree, that he doesn't have a medical degree or anything like that. But here he is telling the world what he needs to do. And remember, as we talked about the other day, he's the owner of more farmland in the United States than anybody else. That should scare you too. Marketplace networking group on Clouthub. Yes, please. Thank you, Judy, for reminding me. I started the Marketplace networking group on Clouthub. Go there, sign up. Let's buy and sell from each other. Let's have a place to go should things become worse in the future, and they will. If you've read the Bible, it talks about that. But you want to be able to not only have, be able to get things from a big corporation or big tech or whatever, buying clothes, buying wreaths, back, whatever. Let's go there, sign up, join. It's free. Put your name on there. People can go down that list, see if what you have and see if they want to buy anything from you. Has more what than anybody else. Carmen Gates owns more farmland in the United States than anybody else. He's buying up the farmland. Yep, for such a time as this, Judy said, absolutely. Because there may become a time, where your money is not going to be worth anything. You may have to barter with people as well. So I'm just saying, get prepared now. And that's the Marketplace networking group on Clouthub. Mr. Gates is the largest farmland owner in the USA. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Gary. The Wreath Work Center looks amazing. Thank you, Carmen. Sold a lot of wreaths lately, like that little bunny there over here. Never can do this right. One went out the other day. This one I'm keeping for myself. All right. Now, here's some more information. Cases, deaths, and hospitalizations plummet by 30% in a month in lockdown-loving California and open all hours Florida. Despite these different approaches, both states ended up with roughly the same outcome. And even though that it says here that they've plummeted, we're still closed down in California. We're privileged to be able to eat outside now, which is, oh my gosh, freedom. But people are still wearing their masks. Bill Gates can eat all the Impossible Whoppers. I prefer the real thing. Yeah, exactly, Rhonda. The thing of it is too, I think I can't remember if I told you this, sorry if I'm repeating myself, but for those who weren't here the other day, we went next door to Orange County, and it was so nice going into Orange County because these people from the very beginning have tried to defy the governor in their lockdowns and the mask wearing and all that. And in San Diego County and some other counties close by, if you are walking on the beach, a lot of people will have on their masks. They have masks on everywhere. They're just mask hysteria. Okay. And you can't go there and just, see the world like it used to be. So when we went to Orange County and we were walking on the beach, it was so amazingly great. People were not wearing masks. I think 95% of the people did not have a mask on. They were walking side by side, talking to each other like they always did. One guy ran by me and was so close, he touched my hand accidentally. People were talking to us, and it was great. There was no fear that has been promulgated on the United States and the world, promulgated on us all. That was gone. It was like, okay, let's be normal here. Yes, we know that the virus is real. There's also the flu, there's colds, there's TB that people aren't masked up for. Some people can have TB. They can spread TB, and it's deadly, but people aren't wearing a mask for that. And so it was just nice to have a day. Yes, Trump told the truth, as always. It was nice to have a day where you could just go and be normal again. Honestly, and Cully is going to hear me say this, but if I had the ability to right now, I would move to Florida today. I would move to Florida so that I could go there and live a normal life. God will deal with Bill Gates, big tech, Biden, Clinton, Obama, and the rest. He has had enough, just as it said. I wonder if the virus can feel fear and gravitate to it. Well, we know that the virus is polite, Barbara. We know that the virus can tell time, so it could possibly be that way. Judy said, "Me too." I literally, if my husband had a job in Florida right now, we'd be in Florida. The mask is a symbol, plain and simple. It is, Gary. Joe Trump always told the truth. Yep. I think Joe knew that. He was just kind of being like sarcastic, meaning like Trump told the truth. All right. Here's something that there was an interview, and I wanted to bring this up for you to see. This is a doctor that was talking to Dr. Mark McDonald. I don't know who the doctor is. I do know who Jesse Lee Peterson is. But this doctor was talking about the virus. And if you want, I can give you a link to this. You can go back later, or I can give you the link and you can watch the whole interview. But he said, according to the psychiatrist and medical legal expert, Dr. Mark McDonald, the true public health crisis is not the virus itself. Rather, it's the fear of the infection, which has morphed and evolved into a form of mass delusional psychosis. Many enter a state of hysteria when they see an unmasked person, even if they look perfectly healthy and clearly are not suffering from any kind of respiratory issue. This is a highly irrational state that has no basis in reality. Delusion is defined as believing something that doesn't conform with reality. There are serious concerns about the lasting effects this widespread insanity will have on children as they grow up. One of the worst traumas children suffer as a result of all this fear-mongering is the idea that they may kill their parents or grandparents simply by being around them. Treating the children's trauma in therapy is not going to be enough, as parents and other adults are the ones creating the trauma by their own exaggerated fear response. To heal a generation of traumatized children, we must first address the psychosis of the adult population. And as I've kind of discussed with people before, in California, you'll see people walking down the street wearing their mask by themselves. You'll see people in a car driving around by themselves with a mask on. People will see you coming, and if you don't have a mask and they have a mask, they will literally run across the street to get away from you. Children will be walking towards you and put on a mask because they've been told, put on a mask, scared to death. They've got to get a mask on. Let's see some of the thoughts here. I've heard someone say, if you have a tent set up in your bed and then blanket, it will keep you warm. Yeah, it's a good idea, Robin. That makes sense. Barbara, smart bug makes you wonder. Yeah, exactly, Wanda. Chessie said, I've been sick, but I get my house vacuumed and floors done with school out. Joe said, already in the works. Let's see. PTSD on steroids. I know, Judy. God has a plan for his people, but God's people have to get away from all of this fear that they are trying to instill into everyone. Please, all my sisters and brothers in the Lord Jesus, trust in God's plan and trust in God's man. President Trump has got this, but everyone has to be patient and wait for the plan to play out. Be still and watch the salvation of our Father Almighty. Teresa said, yeah, Teresa, I don't think, it sounds like maybe you've been listening to part of the alphabet people. There's not, if you're talking about a plan to move back into the White House, like on March 4th, that's not going to happen. I trust in God's plan. I do. So we'll have to see, if anything happens with that, but I'm not trusting that Trump has a plan and he's going to take care of everything and Trump's going to come back into office. I think that is what some people who follow the alphabet letters, certain letters, want you to believe. And I think it's leading people down a wrong path. Good morning, Gary. Good to see you. Hey, Monique. Exactly. It's a fear that is manipulating people to get the jab, not because they actually have the virus. Exactly. Mass hysteria, Rue said. Yes, I've been tempted to take pictures of stupidity, Chessie said. True, Susan. It's like that here in Ontario, Canada. Yep. Yes, or yell at you, Alexa said. Yeah, I've only had the men be Karens to me. I was surprised by that, and they got told off. But the women don't seem to do that. I I told my friend to make a tent. Bruce said, by the way, this is, yeah, I knew you were Monique. Trust the plan. Yeah, I know. My daughter-in-law called to ask, the news says we will run out of natural gas for our homes. No, we will not. They are trying to scare people. They have gas fireplace. Well, they can also light wood in their gas fireplace if they had to, I'm assuming, right? At least I know I can in mine. But anyway, I just think that people, again, if you tell people something long enough and you get other people to go along with it, they will believe it. I think I showed you this one day, but there have been experiments where you'll take one guy, set him in a room with, let's say, 3 other people. The 3 people are in on it. The guy doesn't know what's going on. Then you say, what color is the sky? And you'll have all 3 of them say the sky is green. And it's blue, of course. And the guy will look at him like, okay, maybe they just got that wrong, but yeah, the sky's blue. So then they'll say, what color is the stop sign? The guy will say it's white. The 3 guys will say it's white. And the guy who doesn't know anything looks at them and goes, no, I mean, it's red, right? Starting to question, himself. And then by the third question, what color is grass? All of them say purple. And he's like, purple. It's purple. Because, he's been trained. You can't, number one, you got to follow along with the masses. If you don't, maybe there's something wrong with you that makes you not want to follow along with the masses. And maybe they know something that you don't know, so you should go along with it. And that's what's happening to people. Plus being scared to death. And you as believers, you have to go against the grain in that belief. You have to not fall for it. You have to stay focused on God to know what is true and not what people are trying to make you believe is true. Living in Ohio, I purchased a fitted sheepskin for my bed. Expensive, but worth it. A sheet on top cools. Yeah, Liz, that would be warm. Crazy woman equal Karen's what a crazy guy called. Yes. That's true, Ron. I don't believe Trump is coming back into office. I believe he has a much bigger plan for a movement that will empower people by the millions. I do believe that, Monique. I do. If he stays on the course, I believe that's what will happen. The dress is blue, Barbara said. Robin said, like pushing the white supremacy issue. Yes, this is dangerous. Brain games. Okay, you're so right, Robin. I just assumed the other people were high. Melanie said. Okay, we have gone past the time here for the Bible reading, so let me get that going. Sorry that we were late. Didn't know we were so far behind time. All right, I'm going to start over on Hebrews chapter 11. I left off midway. By faith, we understand. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, for by it the elders obtained a good testimony. By faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that the things which are seen were not made of things which are invisible. Faith at the dawn of history. By faith, Abel offered to God a more excellent sacrifice, that Cain, through which he obtained a witness that he was righteous, God testifying of his gifts. And through it, he being dead still speaks. By faith, Enoch was taken away so that he did not see death and was not found because God had taken him. For before he was taken, he had this testimony that he pleased God. But without faith, it is impossible to please him, for he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. By faith, Noah, being divinely warned of things not yet seen, moved with godly fear, prepared an ark for the saving of his household, by which he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness which is according to faith. Faithful Abraham. By faith, Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to the place where he would receive as an inheritance. And he went out not knowing where he was going. By faith, he dwelt in the land of promise as in a foreign country, dwelling in tents with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he waited for the city which has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. By faith, Sarah herself also received strength to conceive seed, and she bore a child when she was past the age, because she judged faithful who had promised. Therefore, from one man, and him as good as dead, were born as many as the stars of the sky in multitude, innumerable as the sand which is by the seashore. the heavenly hope. These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, were assured of them, embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. For those who say such things declare plainly that they seek a homeland. And truly, if they had called to mind that country from which they had come out, they would have had opportunity to return. But now they desire a better, that is, a heavenly country. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared a city for them. The faith of the patriarchs. By faith, Abraham, when he was tested, offered up Isaac, and he who had received the promises offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said, in Isaac your seed shall be called, concluding that God was able to raise him up even from the dead, from which he also received him in a figurative sense. By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come. Okay, sorry. Breaking news. I'll tell you that in just a minute. By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each of the sons of Joseph and worship leaning on the top of his staff. By faith, Joseph, when he was dying, made mention of the departure of the children of Israel and gave instructions concerning his bones. The faith of Moses. By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hidden 3 months by his parents because they saw he was a beautiful child and they were afraid of the king's command. By faith, Moses, when he became of age, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the passing pleasures of sin, esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he looked to the reward. By faith, he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. By faith, he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest he who destroyed the firstborn should touch him. By faith, they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, whereas the Egyptians, attempting to do so, were drowned. By faith, they overcame. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell down after they were encircled for 7 days. By faith, the harlot Rahab did not perish with those who did not believe when she had received the spies with peace. And what more shall I say? For the time would fail me to tell of Gideon and Barak and Samson and Jephthah, also of David and Samuel and the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, worked righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, became valiant in battle, turned to flight the armies of the aliens. Women received their dead raised to life again. Others were tortured, not accepting deliverance, that they might obtain a better resurrection. Still others had trial of mockings and scourgings, yes, of chains and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sown in two, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskin and goatskin, being destitute, afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and mountains and dens and caves of the earth. And all these, having obtained a good testimony through faith, did not receive the promise, God having provided something better for us, that they should not be made perfect apart from us. Hebrews chapter 12, the race of faith. Therefore we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. The discipline of God. For consider him who endures such hostility from sinners against him, lest you become weary and discouraged in your souls. You have not yet resisted to bloodshed, striving against sin, and you have forgotten the exhortation which speaks to you as to sons. My son, do not despise the chastening of the Lord, nor be discouraged when you are rebuked by him. For whom the Lord loves, he chastens, and scourges every son whom he receives. If you endure chastening, God deals with you as with sons, for that son is there whom a father does not chasten. But if you are without chastening, of which all have become partakers, then you are illegitimate and not sons. Furthermore, we have had human fathers who corrected us, and we paid them respect. Shall we not much more readily be in subjection to the Father of spirits and life and live? For they indeed for a few days chastened us as seemed best to them, but he for our profit, that we may be partakers of his holiness. Now, no chastening seems to be joyful for the present, but painful nevertheless. Afterward, it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have trained by it. Renew your spiritual vitality. Therefore, which hangs down, and the feeble knees, and make straight paths for your feet, so that what is lame may not be dislocated, but rather be healed. Pursue peace with all people and holiness, without which no one will see the Lord. Looking careful lest anyone fall short of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up cause trouble, and by this many become defiled, lest there be any fornicator or profane person like Esau, who for one morsel of food sold his birthright. For you know that afterward, when he wanted to inherit the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place for repentance, though he sought it diligently with tears. The glorious company. For you have not come to the mountain that may be touched and that burns fire, and to blackness and darkness and tempest, and the sound of a trumpet and the voice of words, so that those who heard it begged that the word should not be spoken to them anymore, for they could not endure what was commanded. And if so much as it touches the mountain, it shall be stoned or shot with an arrow. And so sight that Moses said, I am exceedingly afraid and trembling. But you have come to Mount Zion, and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, to an innumerable company of angels, to the general assembly and church of the firstborn, who are registered in heaven, to God of all, to the spirits of just men made perfect, to Jesus, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of sprinkling that speaks better things than that of Abel. Hear the heavens. See that you do not refuse him who speaks. For if they do not escape who refused him who spoke on earth, much more shall we not escape if we turn away from him who speaks from heaven, whose voice then shook the earth. But now he has promised, saying, yet once more I shake not only the earth, but also heaven. Now this, yet once more, indicates removal of those things that are being shaken, as of things that are made, that the things which cannot be shaken may remain. Therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom which cannot be shaken, let us have a grace by which we may serve God acceptably with reverence and godly fear, for our God is a consuming fire. And we will take back up there again tomorrow. Let me tell you what the breaking news was really quickly. It says, let me bring it up on the screen for you. It says President Trump is considering a new social media platform. You can literally build your own site. Considering joining a new social media platform, but stated he might create his own, coming after he was suspended by Twitter, blah, blah, blah. I don't know where he is, if anything, that he's going. He said, I really wanted to be somewhat quiet. They wanted me very much on Parler. You know, they had a phony report that the man who was in there didn't. I mean, just the opposite. They really wanted me on Parler. However, he speculated that Parler would not be able to handle the amount of traffic he would bring to it. He added that if you look at what's going on Twitter, understand it's becoming very boring, blah, blah, blah. So it doesn't say where that he would be going. So I don't know. So I know that Parler a long time ago said that he was going to be there. Doesn't look like that's where he's going. So we'll pray he goes to Clouthub. Wouldn't that be great? All right, everybody. Hebrews is good stuff. We'll pick up on chapter 12 tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here today. If you would please retweet this, share this with everyone.